Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming and watching. Is there someone else? iPhone. Okay. Okay. So the way I would like to do this is just kind of go through what I have for this first part and not have anyone ask questions as we go through it, just because that might make it a little bit confusing. And then I'll open it up at the end to any questions that anyone has. Um, but my idea is to kind of break this down into four parts because it's a big and complex topic. And so for this first one, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page as far as basic terms and concepts go. And then in the next couple of weeks, we can get more into specific different types of crypto, how to buy crypto, how to hold your crypto, stuff like that. So before we even get into that, I want to give a few disclaimers. I'm not a teacher. I don't know anything about teaching people. So bear with me on that. I'm also not a financial advisor, and nothing I say should be taken as financial advice. This is all just me as a new person in the space wanting to share what I know and what I've learned with you guys. When I first got into the investing space back in January, I had no idea what I was doing. I thought that when the stock market crashed, all stocks went to zero. I learned that that's not the case at all. And as I got in from investing in stocks into crypto, I realized a couple of things. One, most of the content is directed at people who already have a basic understanding of this stuff. So it can be very confusing and overwhelming. Two, it's a super male dominated space. And obviously that's not my jam. But since I'm work from home and don't have kids or a life, I was able to spend a lot of time just kind of researching stuff on my own, watching TikTok videos, listening to podcasts. And I realized that this is a really important topic. It's really fun if you like earning money and investing. And I think it's going to be really impactful on our lives going forward. So I don't get anything out of doing this. It's not a pyramid scheme. It's just me wanting to share what I've learned so far with you so that you feel more empowered to kind of say, this isn't too overwhelming for me. I can learn about this if I want. And also as we go through, I'll be sharing some places that I've learned information. Heads up, most are on TikTok. Okay, so like I said, I had zero understanding of almost anything financial when I got into this. And for some people here, this stuff is all very basic and everyone already knows it. For me, I came into it knowing none of these things. And the really cool thing is there is going to be overlap between investing in stocks and investing in crypto. So the two will kind of work together if you already know some stuff about stocks, or if you learn about crypto and then decide that you're more into stocks. This stuff will be helpful in that case too. So an asset is something that holds economic value. We have a lot of different asset classes right now: stocks, bonds, material goods like gold or oil. Those are all different asset classes. And the way that we determine the value of those different things is in a lot of different ways, but ultimately it comes down to supply and demand. If there is a low supply of something, it's going to have a higher value. If there is a high demand in something, there's going to be a higher value. And the people who go into investing in these types of things, whether it's short-term or long-term, are buying an asset with the intent to sell it later for a profit. So when you think about investing in the space, generally what what we mean when we talk about investing is buying and holding something for the long term, whereas trading would be buying and selling it over the short term in order to capture the profits. For anyone who's kind of new into it, I would definitely say that you want to start with investing because it's simpler, it's easier, there's less to understand. With investing, the idea is just to buy the most reliable, best assets and hold on to them. And ultimately, things are going to go up in price over time. So the volume is the amount that's being bought and sold, and the volume, along with other factors, is going to impact the volatility, which is just how much it moves up and down over time. Something that's more volatile is going to have higher spikes, big and low in price, and something with lower volatility is going to be more steady in price over time. The other thing I wanted to talk about is bearish and bullish. When I came in, I had no idea what they were referring to, but bearish just means the price is on a downward trend or going down. It means the sellers are in control, whereas bullish means the price is going up. It's an upward trend. People have, positive sentiment about the price being on an increase over time, and that means the buyers are in control. So when you're looking at investing and determining the value of something, there are a couple of different types of analysis that can be used to do this. So a fundamental analysis of a stock or a project is determining the value in comparison to its competition, and also looking at the project as a whole. How long has it been around for? Are there a lot of other reliable people who are invested in it? Things like that. Whereas technical analysis is more like, I'm sure you've seen the charting with, the lines on it. There are a bunch of different complicated ways that people do technical analysis in order to look at the previous price action on an asset in order to determine what the future price is going to be. So all that said, why should we care about crypto? Well, currently the crypto market as a whole has a market cap of about a little over $2 trillion, which means that's how much money is invested in the space. There are a lot of people currently invested, 13% of Americans, and I think it's only going to go up over time. You can also see that there are a lot of big companies invested. And I was just talking earlier about NFTs, and there are a lot of celebrities who have been investing in NFTs, which is just another branch of crypto. Crypto is really the future of gaming. So if you're a gamer, this is something you want to know about, or if your kids are gamers, and it's the future of finance. I believe this stuff like wholeheartedly, and that's why I want to teach you about it. I want to talk about it, and that's why I find it so interesting to learn about it. Just as a little bit of a comparison chart, my intentions with this chart didn't exactly go as planned. As you can see, the two green lines on the bottom essentially look like exactly the same thing, because that's what would have happened if you had invested $1,000 in either the S&P 500 or gold or Bitcoin in 2012. If you had just put $1,000 into those three things, this is where your money would be today. I think for the S&P 500, you'd have about $15,000, and that's including dividends. With gold, you'd have about $12,000. So you can see that those are both very reliable, good investments. They're good long-term investments. There might be some price fluctuation over time. But if you had invested $1,000 in Bitcoin in 2012, you would have upwards of $9 million right now. And to me, that is a good reason to look further into what's going on here. Obviously, we're not going to see this continued exponential rise in Bitcoin, but there are other projects in the crypto space that still have this type of room to grow. So when we think about cryptocurrency in comparison to traditional finance, the entire reason that cryptocurrency started and is now becoming so popular is because it essentially puts the power of the money back into the hands of the people who created it, the people who own it. The interest rates you can get on crypto are massively bigger than anything you'd get in traditional finance. And there are also new ways that you can take out loans using crypto, and I think that's only going to increase over time. Obviously, the wealth concentration in traditional finance, we all know, is like, 0.1%. In crypto, it is still concentrated, just not nearly as much. Okay, cool. So Bitcoin cryptocurrency is important in our lives. It's going to be more mainstream going forward. People can make money off of it, but what actually is it? Not to be too English majory about things, but when you break down the word, crypto is based on cryptography, right? Which is the writing and solving of codes, and a form of encryption that creates security. And we know that currency is a system of money or a store of value. So most of the crypto projects that we use today are based on blockchain technology. So essentially, a computer programmer uses a code to create a currency. And when that's done, we have a cryptocurrency that is a digital form of money with a set of codes that determine how it can be used and how it's secured going forward. And the cool thing is, we'll get more into blockchain later on, but the cool thing about these codes that create the cryptocurrency is that they are open to the public. So any coder, any programmer or developer who understands coding, which I do not, this stuff is still all a little bit foggy and foreign to me, so I'm doing the best I can here. But anyone who understands code can look at it and see what this cryptocurrency is intended to do and make sure essentially that it's legit. So like I said, next week I want to get into more of the different types of crypto and what they do. But I think it's really helpful to just keep in mind the different real world ways that we store money now. So obviously we have cash, which $1 to me is going to be the same dollar to you. You can take it to the store. It doesn't have any inherent value. Cash money isn't really going to do anything other than be a bearer instrument or something that, you use to exchange for actual things. And gold is more of a store of value. You could exchange it, certainly, but that's not what we use it for, right? People kind of just buy and hold gold because, like we saw previously, its price is going to increase in time because there is a finite supply of it. We can print more cash as we see fit. The government can print more cash whenever they want to. And we can mine gold, but the earth only has so much gold to give. And once it also becomes more expensive as we, try and find it and mine it. And one of the other cool things about gold is it's not just something we give value to, we can actually use it. So we use it for jewelry, we use it in electronics. It has utility beyond just being a store of value. So you can invest in cash, you can hold cash with the hope that it's going to appreciate. It won't. You can hold gold, invest in gold, and hope that it appreciates over time, which it will. But there's really no way to invest in the internet as a concept, as a theory. You could invest in companies that use the internet. You could invest in different companies that create technology that assist the internet. But the internet is kind of just a thing that we all have access to, and everyone is kind of free to build different programs on it. And I think, you know, in the past 20 years, I think most of us, except for the young one here, remember time before the internet. And it's pretty crazy to think about what the internet has done for our lives in the past 20 years. And I think we still haven't seen, you know, the entirety of what the internet can do for us. But we can't really invest in it. Well, the cool thing about cryptocurrency with I think there's about 4,000, 4,500 maybe different cryptocurrencies that exist right now. They all kind of have different features that are like these things. Some are just maybe a store of value. They're mainstream. There's a finite supply, so holding on to them is only going to increase the price is probably going to increase over time. There are cryptocurrency projects that are more like cash. Maybe it could increase in value over time, but it is an easier thing that we can use to exchange for regular goods. And then there are also cryptocurrency projects that are kind of like the internet. And those are the ones that I think are really exciting because they have the ability to develop programs on top of them that are then going to be implemented in gaming and things like that. So we went over our general finance terms, but I want to go over some crypto specific terms because if you're going to get into the space, you want to be able to talk like the people who are also in the space. So I mentioned Bitcoin. Bitcoin is kind of like the OG, the king crypto, and we would call anything that isn't Bitcoin an altcoin. Everyone's going to have different opinions on what the best altcoins are or what is most altcoiny of them, but they're all altcoins for our purposes. So crypto is a currency or a coin token that's created by a computer code. The way that we buy and sell these cryptocurrency projects, coins, tokens, is through an exchange. So there are app exchanges on your phone or websites that are exchanges. And you can, just move your USD over into an exchange and buy and sell cryptocurrency from there. Security is a big thing in cryptocurrency, and it's one of the reasons why it's so important. People don't want to hold their money in a bank. People want the keys or the power to hold their own money. So we hold cryptocurrency in a wallet. Makes sense. There are lots of different kinds of wallets. Some are online, like an app on your phone or a website. Some are offline. We would call an online wallet a hot wallet, and an offline or physical wallet's like a little USB type device. We would call that a cold wallet. The wallet address is going to be different depending on the cryptocurrency type that you're exchanging. But the wallet address is just a long string of numbers, and it's what someone would need to have in order to send you something. And one of the cool things about a lot of different exchanges is that they have QR codes. So if I wanted to send Ryan a certain amount of a specific cryptocurrency, I could just go into my exchange, scan his QR code, and then it does it for us. So there are some different things that you can do with your cryptocurrency, whether it's in a hot wallet or cold wallet or on an exchange. And one of the most important things is staking. So staking, or locking up your crypto, is basically just a way to gain interest. And we'll talk about it more next time when we go further into blockchain. But basically staking your coins just helps out the system. It helps out the cryptocurrency project. And so they will give you interest, sometimes really high interest, in order to do that. Let's see. So for the most part, the projects that I like the most, generally speaking, use blockchain technology. And blockchain technology is just a new way to store transactions. So you can almost imagine it like buying a car, and instead of signing out a physical contract, we could do it on the blockchain, and we would see that what was once my car was then sent to Ken and is now Ken's car, and any place that it goes thereafter is going to be built in a block type manner on top of that, so that we can always look back and see, okay, this specific car once belonged to Ken, originally belonged to Allie, and the blockchain is public, so you can't necessarily see that it was Ken and Allie. You could see Ken and Allie's wallet addresses, which are private. But with blockchain technology, we can kind of track the movement of different transactions, and it also makes things really super secure. So I think I touched on it a bit before, but the goal of most cryptocurrency projects is just decentralization. So instead of the banks being in control and the government being able to determine whether or not we're printing more money, the people, the various different people who own the cryptocurrency have the power over it. So the power is decentralized into the hands of the people who own it. And DeFi is just a term that means decentralized finance. Okay, so I think, if you were interested, you could maybe screenshot this screen and kind of review those terms, because we're going to be using them a lot in the future. But just to recap, what we learned today is that cryptocurrency, what we call crypto, it's an umbrella term for a bunch of digital currencies and projects. They all do different things. They have different features. Some act more like cash, some like gold, some are like the internet. They all have different utilities and goals, but ultimately there is a way to invest in those cryptocurrencies to kind of gain money over time, whether you're just holding it for the hopes that it's going to increase in value, or using it for its staking and earning interest. But I think within the next 5 years, you're just going to see a massive change in gaming, virtual reality, real estate, internet technology, and cryptocurrency is going to be a part of that. So next week, we will talk a little bit more about the different types of cryptocurrencies and what they do and why they're important. But for now, I just want to open it up to anyone who may have questions. You can unmute yourself, and I will happily answer anything I can. Again, not an expert, but hopefully this was simple enough for you to understand kind of the basics. Any questions at all?
I have one.
Oh goodness, I'm scared now. Okay, wait, I wasn't prepared for people to actually ask questions. Okay, no, go ahead. Ask your question.
Where are you?
I'm in the living room.
Turn a light on.
So you said that on the blockchain that you can see like you know who did what, but you also said it was private. So does that mean like you can only see part of the address um on the blockchain? Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. So you can see the whole you can see the whole wallet address when you're looking back at things, but there's no way of knowing who that address belongs to. So for example, you can see different transactions as they go through. We haven't gotten into NFTs yet, but I think it's kind of an easy way to do it. You could look at a specific NFT project and see that this same wallet address owns, 10 of these NFTs, or the people who are really into technical analysis and looking at something called on-chain metrics, or how the whales, the people with a lot of cryptocurrency are either you can see how they're moving it from maybe an exchange to a cold wallet or back and forth. You can always see that long address, but you don't know to whom it belongs. We can guess about some things, but you'll never know. So it's anonymous, but the transaction is public, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and Ryan, I can't use your address. It's unique to you and it's unique to your platform. So I wouldn't be able to copy your address and send you, like I would be sending you currency. I wouldn't be able to take away any of your currency, if that makes sense. I could only initiate a transaction to you, not from you.
Exactly. When you share your public address with someone, they can only send to it. They can't take anything from it. Anything going out of your exchange or your wallet has to be initiated by you.
But if I was sending it to Ryan through his, I would have his number, right? Like so I would know it was Ryan's.
You would know it was Ryan, but I could look at that transaction on the blockchain and I would just see two wallet addresses, unless I knew this belongs to Ken and this one is Ryan's. But obviously, at the same time, you could, link up with someone on the internet, have no idea who they are at all, and send them something just with their wallet address. But yes, Dan, I think I've traded crypto with most of you. And yes, I would see your address and know that it belongs to you, but anyone looking at the blockchain from the outside isn't going to know that. Cool.
So I guess you have to be careful about who you let know what your wallet is and all that.
You do. You don't want to go spreading your wallet address all over the place. Some people will spam it in chat rooms and hope that someone sends them something. There are, crypto can be confusing and risky. I think that's one of the things I've learned. And one of the reasons why I think it's important to kind of know the basics before you just say, oh, I heard about this one cryptocurrency project. I'm going to go sign up for an exchange and buy this. Using your exchange, buying and selling on there, it can be a little tricky. And so you always want to be careful, especially because, it's money, it's real money. It might be internet money and fake and intangible, but it's actual, it's actual money.
Yeah, and most platforms will have like two-factor authentication. And make sure to do that, because you don't want someone hacking into your computer and being able to take your money and transferring it around. It's just like someone going into your bank account and being able to take your information and send it places. The good thing about two-factor authentication is because you have to have your Face ID or you have to have a unique ID on at that moment. They will send you a 6-digit code that you need to use in order to transfer your money out of your account. You could receive whatever you want, but in order for you to initiate a transaction out, you need to use both your Face ID and a 6-digit code that's stored on your computer for 30 seconds.
Right.
So
And
it
I didn't
makes it
even
more
mention,
secure.
I didn't even mention the keys, which when you set up any type of wallet, whether it's a hot wallet online or a cold storage device, you're going to get a set of keys, which is 16 words. And ideally you write those down, and some people put that in a safety deposit box at the bank, which to me is really funny. But you have to write down those 16 words. And then if you lose your phone, if you lose the actual little USB drive cold storage wallet, it doesn't matter. As long as you have those 16 words, that's like your most important password. And it'll be different for each thing, you know? So there's a lot of different ways that they've made this super secure, and that's kind of the whole point.
Yep. And right now, it's also not attached to your social security number, which for tax purposes makes it kind of not traceable. That may change over time. I'm a tax accountant. I've been doing it for years. That's part of the reason why some people got into it, is because people wouldn't be able to track your transactions and figure out where you're putting your money or making money. That may change soon. It already is changing, but my social security number is not attached to any of my accounts. My email address is, but I also would not like my identity stolen like most banks make me do. So in order to open a bank account, you need a social security number. They need to verify that this is you. And on a blockchain, you don't need that currently.
And I'm sure things are gonna change a lot in the next 5-10 years, but as of right now, very true.
Yeah, and I'm not selling drugs or anything. I'm not. So it's nothing illegal. It's just, some people like to have security knowing that their identity cannot be stolen. And
Right.
right now, across even the major banks, there have been breaches and people's identity and passwords have been taken from them and used to purchase homes and things like that. And that can't happen over a blockchain.
And are you safely like attaching your wallet to your like normal checking or savings account that you use for your day-to-day life?
A very good question. And you'll just have to come a couple weeks from now when I talk more about the actual mechanics of buying and selling. But you do have to link in most cases, you have to link your checking account, say, to an exchange like Coinbase. And then you would just transfer $200 from your checking account over into your Coinbase account. And then you have $200 in US dollars that you can then go buy another cryptocurrency with. Or the inverse is also true. If you, say you buy a little bit of Bitcoin, it goes up in price, you can sell it for USD and then withdraw that back out into your checking account on an exchange. And that's the benefit of an exchange, as opposed to, an exchange is more for buying and selling, whereas a wallet is more for holding. But you can move things back and forth from one to the other.
Yeah, and Allie, just what I've done, because I was skeptical of putting my information out there, was I created a second checking account for myself and transferred just the money that I wanted to use in trading cryptocurrencies into that checking account, so that if by chance someone did get my checking account information, they wouldn't be able to get into my, say, savings or my checking that I hold most of my cash, because it's direct deposited from my job. So I created just a personal checking account so that I could transfer money from that to, or from my regular checking to that checking, and then transfer it over to an exchange like Coinbase or something like that. I'm very skeptical when it comes to a lot of things. So I just wanted to add that level of security onto it.
It's certainly an option. And yes, you are more skeptical than I am, and you
Yeah.
have more money to lose than I am. If someone tried to access my checking account, they would be really disappointed. So
No,
it's
exactly.
it's a
and
good
think-
idea if you keep money in there.
And-
But
but think-
ideally, the idea is that it doesn't have to be complicated. You can just transfer it right over, because
Yeah,
a
it
lot of
doesn't.
these exchanges are very legit at this point. So
Yeah, and Coinbase is FDA secured. So you wouldn't really need to worry if someone did access your account, because you would get your money back.
right.
And that's one of the wallets, right? Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase has
That's
its
an-
own wallet or exchange.
Yep, it's an exchange and also has a wallet feature. You can kind of do all that
Coinbase is-
stuff.
Yeah, Coinbase is the only platform that I've attached any of my checking accounts to. So I've asked Ali to buy me some cryptocurrencies on other exchanges that I don't necessarily trust. But she's done it, and I've gotten the currencies and locked them away in another wallet. So thank you.
It's true, I did. Anyone else have a question? I'm so glad that you guys came, and I really hope that this was helpful in some way. Like I said, next week we'll go more into the kind of like the history of Bitcoin and how the other projects have come since then. Because if you, like me, want to make money, generally the money is made in those other projects. So thank you so much. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Yeah, thank you, Ali.
Right.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.